She stays very easily. She goes up quickly. We need to get to the court daily, where we are the defendant and we are the judge. I need to put myself daily. The day ends. I need to put myself in court. And there I am, a defendant, and I'm a judge. Because it is the opportunity I have to unravel the lies I told me. To unravel the lies I told others. Those scams of my personality. So I daily take me to this court where only honesty is allowed. And here comes the big question. We all need to enter this context of light, illuminate our way of being to find out where we are excessive, where we are cruel, where we kill the other with our word, with our opinion, with our nature, where the other is more than us too, that we need to allow light. Sometimes I see that at least my experience is so good when I find someone who is much better than me in a place, that I know I'm fragile, that I know I don't have that skill, and I find I texact gear, not in the usefulness of that person, but in full recognition, her meaning there, from difference in how much I am better with this coexistence, with the different from the other, with what he challenges me. It's so intriguing, because there are people you will know and you live up to. You get angry, irritates, and it pisses to the other's way. Because it is the way you would like to be, and can't. Your way of being can already what's bad. It's true. The other, for the simple fact that he is by my side, he already questioned me, without saying anything. He, living by my side, being my neighbor, he interrogates me. But we have to lower our weapons. It is inner effort. We can't forgive. Sometimes we carry diseases, sick expressions of ruined stones. We get ugly as we are carrying the grudges. We get bitter, a stiff face that we keep for so many. And that is that story. If I hurt the other, I hurt myself first. And then the grudge is being impregnated in our house. Impressive how matter absorbs this. The house of us, the place we live, the place we work. We will deposit it in our wardrobe. And we are really impregnating. Sometimes we enter a house and you don't know how to say why you don't feel right there. We feel. It looks like it has a burden in the air. It is the life that expresses itself in everything we choose. In the details, right. All the details have what we call the reason for our loves. In the details of my house, in the details in myself, I express the state I am in and what I really love and in which order I love. What place am I going? It is my ability to do my part, to open the drawer, and say that. This drawer is an expression of my soul. There are excesses here. So when I will make what I keep and insist on keeping, it is as if I were doing a spiritual exercise as well. Osizio, you said something that is very certain. We are very cruel. And this week I'm specifying who I'm cruel. And I challenge you at home. Who do you exercise your cruelty to? As good as a person is, at some point in life, he discovers a Christ to make cruel. Today, I even cried about this fact when I began to identify that my cruelty is justified. I have all the arguments, as I care about logic, and I am naturally logical, so I need to argue. To regiment all the reasons why I am being cruel, and it has no cruelty. And then there is no room for you to regret, for you to recognize yourself. There is no room for regret. It gets heavy. It gets very heavy. And suddenly, the other ends up being a mirror of what you denies most in yourself. When you begin to realize that the other does you evil when you are being cruel to him, because he reflects failure. A fact that I find it shameful to me. Because it's not good to be cruel. I think it's so liberating when Wayu can tell us, I don't deserve anything. It may seem cruel. But when you detach you to deserve something, Sometimes what makes me difficult in the relationship with you is that I think I deserve your attention. That you do it for me. That you do that. So, if I can stop thinking I deserve it, my relationship with you is much more free. And suddenly you will surprise me with what I don't think I deserve. But it happened. The logic of merit is very cruel in relationships. We go to the relationship with the other by putting a very large burden upon him. I need you. I deserve you to treat me like this. That you do that. You have to do that. You have to. Oh my God. And of course, there are many things that we deserve. The question is a human dignity. We will not give up our human dignity. I deserve to be respected all the time. I'm talking about the superfluous, which sometimes we are putting in the context of our relationships. This makes reconciliation very difficult with each other. It makes it difficult because forgiveness is that too. It is me to admit that you have no obligation to meet my expectations. And I have to admit, learn, assimilate, and install me in this place. Because sometimes it is said that he forgave and ruminate the story all his life, whole life. And it is not forgiveness. I think we don't yet is able to forgive the other if we do not fully recognize ourselves able to commit many evil in life. If I do not recognize that I have evil, that I'm able to make mistakes a lot, I will not be able to grant this to each other and trust. 2 weeks ago, I could have a wonderful dialogue with my ex-husband. Let me correct myself, that I cannot say that it is my ex-husband, that my marriage was once null, declared. So my old friend, your friend, right? My friend, that's right. He's a person who did very well too. It was. And it was beautiful. A man who played a role in his very important life. Yes, and it was very humble from his part because he told me that he needed to live a half cult. He needed to tell me the things he was realizing only now. Like friends. How long did you stay together, I say? We stayed 3.5 years, married 2.5 years. And did the Unial Declaration come out now? He left in December last year. Very unique. Very unique. Cristovan Basso, living a lot with him now because we are producing a job that we will release early next year. Then a genius, Christopher. One of the greatest composers of our music. A great conductor. So we were talking about loneliness, he said like this. As I am in need of loneliness. And only now has it grown inside him, he said. But for a man who is married is difficult at home and you live this pain to defects. You have to know how to calibrate well, balance your time well, have to have mutual understanding too. Because there are métiers that don't need so much solitude, but art needs. Imagine you make your mosaics with the kids running around the house. I need to. I admit that I miss. I like to travel alone sometimes, but as we are proligal, I don't know what we're talking about. Of forgiveness. I was saying that I met Jada and it was very beautiful, his attitude of recognition and relief in being able to have room for asking for forgiveness. And I forgive. And I also ask and he also forgive. I think forgiveness is a violent attitude inside. Brave. But it is a cleaning lady. It is a very cleaning attitude. We keep stones if you don't forgive because it's you have to know the difference in expectation and hope. Yeah, two very different concepts. Yeah, expectation you fill the other than he can't carry. And of hope you have to admit that he may not get what you want and ask yourself. I accept anyway. Interesting, Ayessa. You give up all of that context you had, although it was not very conscious in you. That was the natural movement of your wedding. The choices you were making at that time. You exercised in what I think it is more sublime in a person's life. which is to be able to renounce what you have achieved. Not of yourself, because it will never give up, but when you are able to look at the success you do, and you say it is not the most important to me. Knowing how to get out of the scene, isn't it? To renounce yourself is not to forget who we are. It is renouncing the excesses of what we bring. It is looking at the suffering I have and being able to renounce the excesses it causes me. So I get the part that can teach me. The pedagogical dimension of a fact, the pedagogical dimension of a tragedy. And I'll be back to what I was saying. When you see in these serious religions that start from a love principle of God, respect for man, which I think is the most honest day that every religion needs to live, it is just when it teaches us. And I am very happy to be a Christian. I am very comfortable from the word of Jesus, which teaches me the way of lightness, the way, as the Buddhists say, which is precisely the pursuit of this balance, which allows me to relativize evil. I never think that. But illusory, right? Because we dress good what is bad. Did you wonder if you would go vain to sleep today with what God has done in your life? I have to sleep naked in this truth. I have to unravel my soul daily and say what God has done to me and serve to this day. This is wonderful from our church, but especially from the invitation of Christ, the examination of conscience, this thing of every day to confess. Look to yourself in the exercise. There is the beginning of our philosophers who supported everything that people have to get organized internally today. But to remember faithfully, tell yourself again, extremely fidelity, everything you really lived, but especially what no one has seen. Now Celine Dion has announced that she will stop singing for an indefinite time. My God, just as she did when she had her last child. How much time? Is she about 4 years without singing? 5 years. 5 years. I had the opportunity to listen to it in one of those return shows. When I heard that woman singing all that production, I said, my God, how did this woman once consider the possibility of stopping it? She now canceled over 180 shows. There is no forecast back. Because of her husband, she stopped to take care of her husband. There is no forecast back. This ability to relativize the success it makes, this is very noble, my people. This is too hard. Getting out of the scene, then sometimes we see us attached to a misery that should be ashamed, right? A woman like this, I can use an inappropriate term. She evangelizes me. She evangelizes me with this attitude of her. Look, my family is more important than all that is great in the eyes of the other. A person who tars the backstage and be happy and be at peace and know that it is still on the axis. And even if you get out of the scene and be unhappy, it's not getting out of the scene, right? Your soul remains there. Because then you would be unhappy and not match the choice. But getting out of the scene and being whole is really a mature soul, right? For me, the great secret of life is acceptance. To accept. What is it to accept? Lower the guard and stop fighting with life, right? I think the spirit of acceptance. I was hitting that word of the Bible a lot. He accepts everything that happens to you and in pain remains firm. Because in the crucible of humiliation that man will learn to be truly honored. And I thought, could Jesus accept everything but everything is all? Oh, so, a change? To accept is not to be passive in the face of life or things that depend on me. But having a spirit of constant acceptance makes you much more docile to what works and not. You get much more sensitive to the truth. Life, sensitive to beauty. But it is a conscious option, well awake and demanding by humility. It is a small exercise. I say it's exercise because it's not very natural to be humble. No, you have to be very aware of yourself. The arrogance. Because happiness is like this. My people. It should be a very simple process in US. But we get used to putting so many obstacles to our happiness that suddenly we are making it impossible to be happy, even if we are capable of it. Because as hard as life is, no one is out of the possibility of being happy. Despite all the problems it has, of all the limits it needs to face, it is part of our human condition. No one has perfect life. None of us have perfection surrounding us and caressing ourselves, no? But the big problem is when we get used to the process of hypocrisy. When we stop problematizing our lies. When we get used to the falsifying process, then we will generate a terrible damage to us. Guys, when we begin to understand happiness as a possible project, when we stop idealizing this happiness, oh, I'll be happy when my husband is perfect, when my wife is perfect. It will never. People will not be perfect. Now you can look for an inner harmony that will give you a bit of dealing a little better with the other's imperfection, and even my people, deal with it more responsible. There can be no greater damage than this. I live representing a role that I am not. I lose my life with the caricatures I decided to do for myself. It does not exist. That's not fair. Nor it is fair to all that God has given me with all that God has reserved me. It is not fair to all that God has given him with all that he had reserved him. This life needs to be lived in truth. It is to seek, recruit daily what we can tell the other, and search for it daily. We need to take care that the other does not come to pour over our condensed milk, putting the vinegar caldina that he evilly prepared for us. So don't do that either. When you throw a bad feeling out, throw it in the trash, not over the other. Christian has no obligation to receive what is no longer for me. Sprinkled feelings cannot be tried on top of others. Guys, it's impressive how we do it. We clean the glass outside. We wage such a dishonest fight. Why? Because we want to heal on us on sides or situations that will not have access to what really gets sick. It's those false conflicts, right? The person needs to make a decision in his life, but he does not enter the right door so that he is able to access the room that in fact needs the reform. Or you reach the foundation part where the crack that is weakening the structure of the whole house. No, we stay there surrounding the stump, managing a false conflict. How many things do they go wrong every day? If you choose to stay in them, you get bored over time, bitter. If you are notable to see the bright side of life, you will always be there. That peeled person, disinterested and uninteresting as well. That it is very bad for us to be close to such a person who finds no reason for their joy. Who finds no reason for his satisfaction. Who always is asking for the diamond of the other who has not found his own. It's not fair to each other. It's not fair to you. You have the gift of panning this diamond on you. Do not want to collect the diamond that the other has achieved. It's yours. It's your struggle. Because we are failing to nail the nails in reality daily and raise the diamond of our identity, either as a child, as a father, as a mother, as a brother. If we do not renew this diamond daily, it is losing the shine, then we will get that stone dead in hand, discouraged, lifeless, no joy, without dynamism, without vital elan, as philosophy said. What is elan vital? It is this vist, this force that holds us to everything that is alive, this view that will hold us the dynamics of existence that does not let us fade, despite all the problems that may be proper to this life. If you insist on getting a dawn face, you won't get anything. If you get to your work tomorrow the same way you arrived today, don't expect you too much. You have to renew these reasons before leaving home. You have to renew your reason for continuing here, performing this paper. And this is generating in me, my people, an existential discomfort, and I stop seeking the stone every day. It is therefore, no matter how sinful it is the structure where we are, the challenge is personal. I have to look for the stone, the diamond that is in the midst of so many gravel, because otherwise my life is losing meaning. My life is losing its shine, losing its addiction. If in your house, if you do not search for being the best son, the faithful husband, the faithful wife, the brother, it loses the satisfaction. And soon you no longer believe in your experience. In a little while, you give the worst of the discredit. And another, you can even delude yourself. Oh, the diamond he has achieved will bring me joy. It does not bring. No, the diamond of reality has only shine in the eyes of those who actually produced it. I need to produce in the structure of my reality a diamond a day, because it is with this diamond in my hand that I end the day. It is with him that I face the night, and it is with him that I get the day tomorrow. Only tomorrow he no longer serves. Today's diamond shone today. Today's diamond enriched me today. Tomorrow I have to start the whole fight again, because it does not survive the daylight tomorrow. It served for today. Tomorrow, the reality will be different. The problems will be other, the joys will be others, the challenges will be others, and I need to stick the nail there in this reality and extract the diamond of the day. Isn't that how life works? Isn't that how you need to do there at your work every day? And in professional life, does this happen a lot? How many people do you see losing your own life to maintain that position? To be forever the boss, to be eternally respected. There was an inner detachment of thinking. Lost here, we won elsewhere. We just can't lose who we are. The rest can be lost because we work and build again. Now, if we lose who we are, this damage is irremediable. Remove the concept of happiness from this idealized romantic atmosphere, and you will see how it is possible. In the satisfaction, you have to change a furniture and to get the dust that was there before. Yes, the courager of life. Do you know you go there in your drawer and realize that you have accumulation, that it is weighing you? Because every time we get rid of our excesses, happiness is more accessible. Happiness is more accessible. Also make the sacrifice of playing a little out what you have accumulated throughout your life. Dispense with your excesses. You also start to dispense with feelings that were old inside you, which caused you no good. Only then you don't play on the other, right? You can't play our hatred on top of the other. This is to throw away, not to get anyone. Having the courage to look at this gospel here. My people, it's not easy. Woe to you, hypocritical scribes and Pharisees. Clean the glass and plate on the outside, but inside theft and greed. Blind Pharisee first cleans the glass inside, which will also be clean. It is inside that it gets sick. The dirt that kills us is not the one that is out of the glass. It will contaminate the food. These are situations that he is trying to clean on the outside, but in fact, the dirt that bothers is here. It is in the mind. It is in the soul. We are too complex. My people, every time Jesus puts us in the face of a reality that needs to be transformed, the first to benefit is us. Because sometimes we are interpreting, right? That selfish God is this. Wanting me to be as he wants me to be. No, it is not. Is that God's conscience about what I can be is much brighter than mine. God knows much more than I can be. And your want for me is that I exhaust these possibilities to the fullest. I need to raise the maximum category to my possibilities. Then one thing triggers another. Break hypocrisy. Breaking hypocrisy is that we dive into the hearts of these things, these realities that make us so many times absolutely unhappy because we are not being the one we should be. And the worst hypocrisy is not what the other shows us. It is the one we know. In the intimacy of our hearts, which we practice. The hypocrisy that in fact is shamed is not what the other knows about us. No, this is what we know of ourselves. When I am not able to love those by my side, when I am not able to respect those by my side, when I feel that my love is theoretical, I do not love anyone, and I am giving speech to another. Right. This has no end. I remember there was a time when I was well addicted to the MSN guys. Sometimes I started talking to friends there. When I saw I had already given one in the morning, you do not realize the time pass. It's impressive. Then lie on the bed and it is like a Curiango, right? Curiango sleeps day and stay up at night, right? It is there and does not sleep. Why? Of course. The excitement of the computer lights, that the brain is working 1,009. And the problem when it is a family father who is losing the centrality of life because of it. For God's sake, people, we will be very careful. Otherwise, we will be teenagers all our lives. One of the big problems I see, especially in men today, is this prolonged adolescence. Peter Pan's Robin syndrome, right? Who doesn't want to grow? The little boy all his life. For God's sake, my people, this life requires seriousness. And today, more and more we find this. It's the statistics. People are very little prepared for life. From the effective point of view, from a professional point of view, the unpreparedness today is very large. Why? If you will see, our time is busy with nonsense. It starts to make a healthy life proposal for you. Healthy habits. We need this. Start controlling a little until time from the internet in your life. Because otherwise you are around this and you are doing nothing else. You don't study. You don't work. You don't live. So if your husband lives this problem, put the cards on the table. You need to look into his eyes and say, look, I won't tolerate it anymore. That from the moment he is bringing this porn inside his house, he is also opening the possibility for his children to have contact with it. And back, that's what we were saying before, loses authority. People. If the child finds that the father does this, it is very difficult to ask the child not to do. What is often a difficulty in our speech is that for a long time we associated holiness with perfection. Perfect we cannot be, but saints we can be. Perfection, my people, is when... What is a perfect thing? It is what is unmustamed, no need to move anymore. When you look at a work of art and speak, this work is perfect. When you have, for example, I had the fun to go to the Vatican. In the Vatican Museum, you see beautiful things. In Rome, you see beautiful things. The image of Moses, right, is beautiful when you are before her. It is perfect. But what is the perfect one there? The Greek concept of perfection is what is ready and finished. So we even have that translation, being perfect as I can. The Father of heaven is perfect. So this is a mistake, because in fact, perfection, it is not a project for us humans. Holiness does not consist of being perfect, because if it's perfect, you don't have to be changed. And I can't find it, and I never saw in my life a human being who didn't have to be modified. So you see that holiness, it consists of being a process of searching for improvement. I want to be similar to Jesus. I have as my goal. It's my promised land. I want to get there. But then I live, learning to live with my limits. Being holy does not mean not having sin anymore, but means having the sins under control. Being holy means being aware of fragility. A book I recommend did me very well when I read is from Anselmo Grun, The Sky Begins in You. Have you read this book? It is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Anselmo Grun works very beautifully the spirituality that begins on the ground, in human reality. So I live my process of holiness by working what is fragile in my humanity, is taking possession of it. I begin to manage what is fragile in me so that what is fragile in me will not manage me. This is holiness. We are living in the conscience that we can be better. So I start observing what I feel. Is the feeling I have for the other saint? Does my feeling like free or make it free? This is being holy. It is you to live in consciousness and the constant search for not allowing bad things, that what is sinful will take care of you. The search for holiness is for all of us. Because of this, because none of us are out of this process. Some further, some less, right? The more we accelerate the process of goodness in us, our choice for good things, the more we accelerate this process of holiness. And it's interesting to find that I don't need to be perfect. Even because when I consider myself perfect, God has stopped having a chance with me. God cannot act in a heart that feels perfect. Because if it's perfect, it's over. It's ready. It cannot be moved. Now, I'm not perfect, and I don't want to be perfect, because perfect is a very boring thing. If you live with a person who has complex, right? No, it's another name. It's not complex. These neuras, right? For perfection, right? Take the business like this, because she can't even be like that. I remember I had a friend of mine that if there was something crooked in the room, she was crooked too. Right. Just as the painting. So, as long as she didn't get up, she didn't get that picture. She didn't feel well, right? Anderson, my friend, he is a drummer there. Bassist of the band is Alain Pai. The boys from Garabira, who played a lot of time with me. And once I traveled with him on the plane, right? It was the whole band going. Then I realized that everything he put in the middle, the deal like this, from the little tray, the table, if it didn't have it in the middle, it was a little crooked like the business. And then we started talking about it on the flight, and he was confessing that everything for him has to be in the midfield. Tidy. I found that interesting because this is a reflection of the soul of us, right? How many times do you live these neuroses in material things? But this neurosis exists within us as well. And it's very bad when we become a person that is demanding perfection all the time. We often prevent people from being themselves because of it. And it's actually a way of wanting to fix what we are. But we want to fix it first. This is very interesting. What you most reject in the other is usually what you most reject in yourself. So it's a fight. And I can't. I don't have the right to harm the other's process. I don't have the right to hurt my process. The struggle for holiness is that we seek to lighten our intention. Let's make it clear to ourselves what I need to do. It is having this conscience. It is knowing how to lose, knowing how to win, is to manage life. This is holiness, my people. It is we dawn every day with desire. Today, I want to do good. Today, I want to make the pact with the truth. Today, I want to make the pact with justice. And I want to promote this justice, this truth in little things. Today, I want to be friends with others. I don't want to defame anyone. I don't want to increase the weight of bad things. All of this is holiness. Sisters, this is not perfection. Father Fabio, I have a big problem. My husband is very involved with the internet through pornographic conversations. He says he has nothing to do. You know, Father, I am a coordinator of Theme Prayer Group in my regional. And I exercise the ministry of prayer for healing and liberation. And I am afraid to discover that he is cheating on me. What do I do? My daughter, the first thing you need to establish the rules, right? I think in a wedding you need to have rules. Married? Why, no one forced you to marry. Is not true? I've never seen a bride climb tie it on the altar. Have you ever? Sometimes she will tie it inside, right? We don't know, right? But at least outside. It cannot be. From a marriage, it is a contract. Look, we have rules here at home. And I'm like this. Frightened to see how much the internet is becoming a problem even inside families. Guys, it is amazing what is pornography available on the internet. It's amazing how much of people, the number of people who are addicted to it. When I talk about pornography, I'm talking about all kinds of virtual contact there. People get friends, they get married, they have sex through the internet. It's an absurd thing. Is this betrayal? Yeah, it's betrayal. Because the time your husband is there in front of a computer. And sometimes I find stories. Guys, for God's sake, this is the time you could be cultivating with good things your family? With real people. What is the big problem of the internet? When it replaces real relationships. When we begin to bring into our head an absolutely destructive context. And I already talked about it from here. We have to be very careful when it becomes an addiction. The MSN such, the Orchid, my God of heaven. There are people who spend much of the time around IT. They do nothing else. So I need to be careful. The internet has to be a place of research for use. I'm going there. I need to receive an email. I need to communicate with someone. I need to know. It's a beauty. We have that Google. Anything you have doubt. You play there. Get out there a lot of fame. A lot of interesting subjects for their growth. Now the person spends hours and hours and hours chatting. Small conversation. Hey, how's it going? And there, it's here. It's there. And there. And there is here. She. So it's a stressful thing, right? It has no end. I remember there was a time when I was, addicted to the MSN guys. You do not realize the time pass. It's impressive. Then lie on the bed and it is like a curiango, right? Curiango sleep of day and stay awake at night, right? It is there and does not sleep. Of course, the excitement of the computer lights that the brain is working 1,000. And the problem when it is a family father who is losing the centrality of life because of it. For God's sake, people, we will be very careful. Otherwise, we will be teenagers all our lives. One of the big problems I see, especially in men today, is this prolonged adolescence. Peter Pan syndrome, right? Who doesn't want to grow? A little boy all his life. For God's sake, my people, this life requires seriousness. And today, more and more we find this. It's the statistics. People are very little prepared for life. From the effective point of view. From a professional point of view, the unpreparedness today is very large. Why? If you will see, our time is busy with nonsense. It starts to make a healthy life proposal for you. Healthy habits. We need this. Begin to control a little to the time of the internet in your life, because otherwise, you are around it. And you do nothing else. You don't study, you don't work, you don't live. So if your husband lives this problem, put the cards on the table. You need to look into his eyes and say, look, I won't tolerate it anymore. That from the moment he is bringing this porn inside his home, he is opening the possibility also to may. That's what we were saying before. Loses authority. People. If the child finds that the father does this, it is very difficult to ask the child not to do. Father Fabio, I have a big problem. My husband is very involved with the internet through pornographic conversations. He says he has nothing to do, but I can't conform to it. You know, Father, I am a coordinator of my prayer group and my regional. What do I do? My daughter, the first thing you need to establish the rules, right? I think in a wedding you need to have rules. Married? No one forced you to marry. Is not true? I have never seen a bride climb tied on the altar. Have you ever? Sometimes she will tie it inside, right? We don't know, right? But at least outside, it cannot be. From the marriage, it is a contract. Look, we have rules here at home. And I'm like this. Frightened to see how much the internet is becoming a problem even inside families. Guys, it is amazing what is pornography available on the internet. It's amazing how much of people, the number of people who are addicted to it. When I talk about pornography, I'm talking about all kinds of virtual contact there. People get friends, they get married, they have sex over the internet. It's an absurd thing. What if the betrayal is? It's betrayal. Because the time your husband is there in front of a computer, and sometimes I find stories. People, a man who is 5, 6 hours before the screen of a computer, chatting with girls. Never saw in life. For God's sake, this is the time you could be cultivating with good things. Your family, real people, right? What is the big problem of the internet? When it replaces real relationships. When we begin to bring into our head an absolutely destructive context. And I already talked about it from here. We have to be very careful when it becomes an addiction. The MSN, the Orkut, my God of heaven. There are people who spend much of the time around IT. They do nothing else. So I need to be careful. The internet has to be a place of research for us. I'm going there. I need to receive an email. I need to communicate with someone. I need to know. It's a beauty. We have that Google. Anything you have doubt, you play there. Get out there a lot of interesting subjects for their growth. Now the person spends hours and hours and hours chatting. Sharp conversation. Hey, how's it going? And there, it's here, it's there. And there is here, she. It's a stressful thing.